It's Harry again, Biofeedback Resources. It is Friday, Facebook Fridays. I just finished doing a short video about using electrode cream with skin conductance, and now I'm going to talk a bit about using it with surface EMG. So you've got different types of EMG sensors. You have this type that has a little recess in there, and it's designed to be used with the cream. So the cream has to really fill that space in order to make contact with the skin, and so that then the cream is making contact with the skin and with the metal electrode surface to get a good reading. There's another type of sensor that is designed really to not need the cream, because these electrodes are protruding and there's no recess. They would be pushed up right up against the skin, and so that the idea is that you wouldn't really need to use cream because the conductance is good enough with them making contact with the skin. Now, I've always been taught that if we use some of the electrode cream, that will improve the conductance, and so you would tend to get better readings, less noise, more of the true signal. And so what that might look like is lower readings, because instead of getting the reading from the muscle activity plus environmental noise, you're getting less of the environmental noise, and that leaves mostly just the signal coming from the muscle. So I wanted to see if we can do a test here with this type. And we'll get an EMG sensor here. Snap this in. And I'll just do a recording on my arm here. And regardless of whether you use the cream or not, you do want to do skin prep. So I'll take one of these alcohol electrode prep pads, clean the skin, usually let that dry, and then we take the electrode off, put that on the muscle, and then we'll see what we get here. So I'm going to go to my software, get a screen here, and let's see how that's coming through. And we can see we're getting a reading of about 0.6, which is pretty low. I'm actually surprised we're getting a reading that low without electrode cream. That's great. Now I'm picking up a little tension there. Let's see if I change my arm position here. That's on the armrest, which is interesting. Now if I put my arm back on my leg, I'm trying to find the same position. Okay, so it's getting close to 1. Funny how without finding that exact arm position, it's harder to get it as low. There, I got about 0.8. Alright, so now I'm going to pause this recording. I'm going to remove this, ouch, electrode. And I'm going to take a new electrode, snap that in, and this time I'll peel the backing off, and I'm going to add a little bit of cream on here. Let's see. Okay, so I got that much cream, all right, and I'm going to put that back on the location. All right, now I'm going to unpause this recording. Let's see what we get. I'm getting 0.6. I saw 0.5. So it's somewhat lower, not a huge amount lower, but it's noticeably lower, and that's because we have better conductance. I'm just touching the electrode now, and now I'll stop again. And now I'm going to put my arm on the armrest and see what happens there. So now even on the armrest I'm getting relatively low readings, whereas before on the armrest I was getting readings of about 3. So that's much higher. Now I'll go back to having my arm lower. And so there you can see the difference in the reading. Not a huge difference. Often we get much bigger differences in the readings, but in this case the difference is a little bit less. This is a environment that I work in quite a bit, and so I know it's not like super noisy as far as picking up no artifact. So that may be part of the reason why we're not getting as big a difference as sometimes we might get. But it does demonstrate what I'm talking about, using the cream versus not using the cream. Now, with this other type of sensor, and you can see the reading is going crazy because I just took this off. With this other type of sensor, you would need this cable, and we plug that cable into the preamplifier. It's got 3 snap connectors. Those then get snapped on to the electrode. So we snap those on, usually have the black in the center as a ground, and then we would fill this with cream. In this case we use more because it has to fill the space. So we use quite a bit more of the cream. And ideally what you would do is you take something flat and just run it over so that you're sure it's filling the entire cup. So I might even add a little bit more here, just to make sure that it's filling the cup. I don't see people use this type of electrode as much anymore because they have gotten spoiled by using the pre-gels. This is a little bit more work, but I think they're actually better than pre-gels because the more liquid gel I think has a better conductance than the harder, more firm adhesive, because the adhesive not only has to be conductive but it also has to stick, and some of the material that's used for making it stick may not be as conductive as the gel is. So this is what that would look like, having that type of electrode. And I can see what happens with the readings here. Now, you wouldn't expect readings to be as low with this type of electrode, and I'll tell you part of the reason for that is that with, let's see, now this one is ruined. With this type of electrode, this is what's called a narrow placement, meaning that the three electrodes are very close together. Whereas this, they're further apart. They're across a wider space. So this would be a wide placement, and with a wide placement there are more muscle fibers that are contributing to the reading. More of them are being heard by the amplifier, and so you get a higher reading. Whereas with the narrow placement, they're covering a smaller number of motor units or muscle fibers that are being heard by the amplifier, so the reading is lower. So that's part of the reason for getting a higher reading here. Now you can see the reading kind of drop down a bit as I change my arm position. Okay, so that's really what I wanted to show you today. We'll take this off and we'll stop the recording here. So that's using the electrode cream with surface EMG. So we looked at in the previous video using electrode cream with skin conductance or arousal, and now with this one we looked at using it with surface EMG. So again, please leave your comments or your likes, follow us, and hopefully you'll get some more useful information. If you have any questions, comments, please leave those, and look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.